The NEC PC Engine was an absolutely amazing 2D powerhouse video game system with a ton of great games, but when it was brought to the US as the TurboGrafx-16, it was a commercial failure, but quickly became a cult hit with passionate and vocal fans. NEC of America did a very poor job choosing which games to bring to the US market, and there are a ton of amazing games for the platform that were left in Japan. The PC Engine and TurboGrafx-16 had an amazing library of shooting games, and they tend to get all the attention. In this video, I'm going to go over 10 awesome PC Engine games on HuCard that are not shooters and are absolutely worth playing. The upcoming Analog Duo is region-free and can play both US Turbo chips and Japanese HuCard, as well as CD games for both regions. I do wonder about what's going to happen with the cost of PC Engine games, since Western nerds can and do drive up the price of Japanese games. Both of the Kriz Turbo EverDrive and Turbo EverDrive Pro are region-free and will play US games on a Japanese system or Japanese games on a US system. Now that we are all turbocharged, let's ride the PC Engine train to import Gameland. Street Fighter II Dash by Capcom, $10 to $15. It is impossible to overstate just how monumental Street Fighter II was in shaping arcades, home video games, and controller design. NEC actually put together a phenomenal version of Capcom Street Fighter II, and the home version couldn't fit in the regular HuCard design, and they had to build a bigger, thicker HuCard to fit all the incredible graphic goodness. The PC Engine is capable of displaying more on-screen colors than the Sega Mega Drive, and as a result of that, Street Fighter II Dash looks bright and colorful compared to Sega's offering, and can hold its own up to Nintendo's Street Fighter II. Street Fighter II Champion Edition was known as Street Fighter II Dash in Japan, and this is a surprisingly good version of the game with almost all the animations and nothing cut out. The AI on this version is also pretty smart, and that's good considering you're going to need additional hardware in the form of a turbo tap to play a friend. It can be a little tough to play on the default PC Engine gamepad since it only has 2 buttons, but I'll get to that in a minute. I'm sure it would have been interesting to see an alternative timeline where the TurboGrafx-16 was a success in North America and kids grew up with this home version of Street Fighter II instead of the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo versions. It's actually really good, and it's absolutely worth looking into and importing. I actually had a hard time finishing this video since I kept wanting to go back and play another round of Street Fighter II Dash for PC Engine. PC Engine Avenue Pad 6 by NEC, $20 to $28. So, in order to play Street Fighter II on a regular 2-button NEC pad, you have to employ less than good options to have the select button used as an action button and the run button to switch between punches and kicks. It's all sort of janky. And I'm sure the 3-button PC Engine control pad is probably only slightly better. But the real way to play Street Fighter II Dash is with a PC Engine Avenue Pad 6, except no substitutes. It is a larger PC Engine control pad with 6 glorious action buttons. It is very ergonomic if you're playing both with your thumb or claw style with 3 fingers. It has a really good D-pad, and it has a slow motion switch and turbo switches for the 1 and 2 buttons. It's a little bigger than a traditional controller, and it's my go-to gamepad for playing PC Engine, and there are even more games than Street Fighter that support the additional buttons, but it's mostly other fighting games. However, keep in mind that when NEC made the TurboGrafx-16, they used a different controller plug than the PC Engine. So the PC Engine Avenue Pad 6 does not fit a TurboGrafx-16. You would need to get a PCE to TG16 adapter, if you can find one, to get it working on a TurboGrafx-16 system. Luckily, the Analog Duo does support PC Engine wired controllers. The Analog Duo will also support Bluetooth controllers, meaning excellent Bluetooth fighting sticks like the 8-bit Do arcade stick will work on it. Links to both in the video description. PC-Engine 2, aka Bonk's Revenge by Hudson, $21 to $50. PC-Engine 2, aka Bonk's Revenge, is a follow-up to the quintessential TurboGrafx-16 PC Engine game PC-Engine, or Bonk's Adventure. So much so that Bonk was the default mascot for the TurboGrafx-16 in the US and was mentioned in the same breath as Mario and Sonic during his heyday. However, most gamers are completely unaware that in the Japanese version of this game, when Bonk comes across a small meat power-up, they are turned into Girl Bonk, who has feminine anime eyes, long lashes, and a flower dress. She blows kisses at the bad guys and hits the ground with a heart-shaped power-up pound. I mean, it's not like you need an excuse to play through Bonk's Revenge again, but if checking out Girl Bonk is enough to inspire you to play through this amazing game again, then my job here is done. Gender play in my 16-bit platformers? It's more likely than you think. Kiki Kaikai by Taito, $50 to $88. Kiki Kaikai is a very accurate home port of the arcade game of the same name. Its sequel was released on the Super Nintendo Super Famicom and was brought to the West as Pocky and Rocky. It is the best port of the original arcade game and is almost a shooter. You play as a Japanese Shinto shrine maiden who battles traditional Japanese monsters and spirits known as yokai. She does so by waving a spiritual staff and throwing magical talisman scrolls at them. It is quite hard, quite fast, and like I said, almost a shooter. The PC Engine game is the absolute best way to start playing the Kiki Kaikai game series. It is bright, colorful, has excellent animation, and is an overall joyful, hardcore gaming experience that shouldn't be missed. Shinobi by Artmik and Sega, $20 to $30. Sega would actually license their arcade games for home conversion ports to companies like Sunsoft, Tengen, and Artmik that would show up on competitive rival home platforms. It starts off as a better, more accurate port of the original arcade game than anything that was released on Sega hardware, short of the Astro City Mini. Then you get to the first fireball-throwing boss, who seems totally cheap compared to the other versions by tossing quickly moving fireballs off-screen at you. However, you then discover that it has some different stages and does not feature the harbor as a second stage. I still think it's a trip that there are so many quality Sega Mega Drive games on the PC Engine, but they probably sold more Sega games in Japan than the poor Sega Mega Drive did. Still, it's an impressive port of a classic arcade game. Battle Lode Runner by Hudson, $30 to $50. Hudson's Famicom port of Lode Runner from the Apple II was among their earliest Famicom games, along with Nuts and Milk. So when Hudson partnered with NEC to make their own game system as the PC Engine, it's no surprise that they updated Lode Runner. The unnamed enemy robot character in Hudson's Lode Runner for Famicom would later go on to become Bomberman, one of their best-selling game series, so it brings a smile to my face to see the Bomberman enemies chase around the player in Lode Runner yet again. It is a combination of strategy puzzle game and action. Despite starting off simply enough, it has incredibly well thought out puzzle gameplay. It is a really awesome port of the original and includes a new multiplayer battle mode based on Bomberman. As you can see from the video, many years later, I'm still not good at Lode Runner. Kato-chan Ken-chan, aka JJ and Jeff by Hudson, $9 to $20. So what if Hudson made Adventure Island or Wonder Boy for PC Engine, but with a ton of scatological and urine-based humor, starring over-the-top variety skit show comedians? Because why the hell not? Because 1980s Japan, that's why. Kato-chan Ken-chan stars the cast of Kato-chan Ken-chan, Gokigen TV show, but in a running and jumping action game that really feels a lot like Adventure Island, but with fart-based attacks and animals that literally drop poop at our heroes. This was sanitized and brought to the TurboGrafx-16 as JJ and Jeff, but what's the point of that when you are a mature connoisseur of obscure 1980s video games and are quite down with it for an action game where the characters poop in the woods and pee at the side of the building? Because 1980s Japan, that's why. The Ninja Warriors by Taito, $20 to $30. We've already had one home port of a Ninja Action arcade game, but this was the late 1980s, and Ninja Action was a phenomenally big thing at the time, so it's entirely appropriate for me to bring up Ninja Warriors by Taito. It is a pretty decent port of the arcade game, except it doesn't feature the 3 screens like the arcade version had 3 CRT displays in a row, and the action was set across all of them, much like Darius. I always thought it was super cool that the ninja robots in this game were so badass that they walked slowly and leisurely and take their time and effortlessly kill all the bad guys that run at them with knives. I don't care what the evil boss is paying you, it is never a good idea to come at an unstoppable robot ninja armed with nothing but knives. Believe it or not, there are actually a ton of additional ninja games for the PC Engine that I have to save for future videos instead of putting them all in this one. I always had a good time whenever I played this game at the local arcade at the mall, and having a good home version on PC Engine is most excellent. Kaizou Chojin Shubibinman by Masaya, $30 to $40. Kaizou Chojin Shubibinman is a side-scrolling action game that's a parody of Japanese action hero shows, Super Sentai shows, like Power Rangers. You play as either a male or female hero who will run, jump, and stab enemy robot enemies with a laser sword. It's pretty sweet for an original property. The sequel of Kaizou Chojin Shubibinman was brought to the US as Shockman for the TurboGrafx, but the original stayed in Japan. Oh, the original game was just recently released on the PlayStation 4. Some might say that the game is outdated, but I will say that it is refreshingly retro, and a bit simplistic but quite enjoyable, and it has pretty sweet voice samples too. There's nothing like running around, jumping, and slicing enemy robot bad guys with a sword in a video game. Songsong II by Capcom, $30 to $40. Songsong II is a sequel to an early Capcom arcade game and is roughly based on the Chinese tale Journey to the West. So it looks like you actually do play as the monkey god, aka Son Goku. And if you're familiar with Dragon Ball Z, you might think that seems a little familiar. Well, it ends up Dragon Ball is also based on Journey to the West for some inspiration. Songsong runs around and hits bad guys with his magic staff in some tight Capcom platformer action. It has really cute, colorful graphics, and if NEC knew what was good for them back in the day, then this game should have made a Journey to the West. Pun fully intended. A gender-swapped Songsong also showed up in Marvel vs. Capcom 2 as Capcom cosplay itself. The nature of Monkey was irrepressible. That is a reference to the Japanese live-action TV show Monkey from the late 1970s and is also based on Journey to the West. A link to the intro from Monkey is in the video description. You should at least listen to the theme song, Monkey Magic. Valkyrie no Densetsu, Legend of the Valkyrie, by Namco, $15 to $30. Namco actually put some of their best home game developers behind their PC Engine games, and it really shows with Valkyrie no Densetsu. It is a follow-up to Valkyrie Adventure for Famicom and an arcade game from 1989 of the same name. It is an over-the-top action game with some light RPG elements in the form of power-up spells and some NPC dialogue that you don't really need to know Japanese to enjoy. There is a story element and dialogue, but it's an action game through and through. I love her little jumping animation and rabbit ears. It is so freaking cute to watch a cartoon Valkyrie fight Japanese Oni and Goblin. It still blows me away that it's 2023 and people are still discovering awesome games made by a major game developer from the 1980s and 90s that we never got a chance to play. But that's why I'm making this YouTube channel.
PC-Engineは PC-Engine 2 by Hudson。
目よ耳よ、ここがニューワールドだ。エキサイティングホビーマシン PC-Engine NEC から発信。
As I've said in my previous videos, the PC-Engine TurboGrafx-16 library is basically abandonware at this point since corporate Konami seems completely disinterested in making these games commercially available to fans. I stand committed to tell you about all the awesomeness that is the NEC PC-Engine. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because I have a lot other 16-bit goodness to share with you. This is 8-Bit Joystick. Stay awesome. Play retro.